Everyone knows the bottle, but do you know the story behind it? Welcome to Behind the Bottle by Celia Maestri, where the real stories of the tequila world are finally poured out. From bold beginnings to industry secrets, it's time for a deeper sip into the lives behind the spirits. Pour a glass, take a seat. The story's just getting good.
Welcome, Jose Coira.
Hello.
My younger son, to Behind the Bottle, Tequila Tales. We'll see what we're going to tell today to our audience.
Thank you
Will be
for
very
having me.
interesting. So, what was your beginnings with me when you born in, when we were in the United States when you born. I came here when I was 8 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, what you recall that I told you, what happened, or how you start your life in the United States that you can recall, and where?
Yeah. So I remember specifically as we were growing up that you always didn't limit our possibilities. You said always to do what you want to do because you didn't have that opportunity in life. So I wanted to be an actor at some point and worked for Disney and my cousin Alejandro. So I did that for a little bit. But throughout the years, you would always mention the family business, and I would go to little expos with you when I was little. And when I was young, I would work at, with grandma at the factory. And that was really fun. Yeah, in Mexico. So it wasn't till after the movie with Alejandro, the little boy.
Who's Alejandro?
Alejandro Monteverde is a director in Los Angeles. He's our cousin as well, your nephew.
And what movies he made?
The movie that I was working on with him was called Little Boy. It was an amazing movie. So I did some extras casting work, and I think I was also a double for one of the actors. And I had an amazing time. But after that, and it might have been just my age, but it kind of clicked, there was a turning point in my life. Do I continue down pursuing casting directing, which was eventually what I really wanted to do, or go into the family business? And I was never forced. It was always an option. The door was always open. And I decided to just go for it and work for my brother first, Eduardo Morales, at Mexcor. And then shortly after, I believe 2-3 years later, then with you.
So how it's been for you to work?
Oh, wow.
For your mom.
Once you go into the industry, you don't want to get out. It's an amazing industry to work for, and then an even more blessing or a plus to work for your family, your mom, my brother, my stepdad. So
who's your stepdad?
Michael Maestri.
Okay. Very good. So, and what challenges you've been encountered working for the family?
Well, I didn't study business. I think that's a challenge. But I had the best teacher, which was you and Eduardo. But especially you, because I've been with you at Casa Maestri now for 10 years, working with you side by side. So you don't really get that kind of education, in school. You do get your basics, but I didn't get, an education in business. I got an education in film. So it was much different. So I would say the biggest challenge was learning. My brain is a very creative brain. So going from creative to also thinking of business and how to make things work and how to create brands and how to create efficiencies at the distillery. It was all things that I had to learn firsthand, seeing it up front and having you as my teacher side by side.
Very good. So I become a good teacher.
Yes. A tough teacher. One of the toughest teachers there is, because it's, your mom.
Yeah. But I think we get along very well.
Yes, of course.
So tell me about, let me mention something that happened in the beginning when you start working with us. We went to a WSWA, and I wanted to show you how to go around to leave some samples and brochures, etc. So we went to one of the biggest, in the liquor industry, and we had an appointment. And then at the time that we walk in, this gentleman asked, "Who is it?" And another employee of his say, "Well, Celia Maestri." And he didn't thought that I was really by the door, and he said, "Oh my God, she's coming with another tequila." So I recall that I went and I just turned around, and the guy was embarrassed and came and gave me a hug and say hello. And I said, "No, I just didn't bring another tequila. I bring you the tequila." And I left the brochure and a Casa Maestri bottle by there. And we left. And then when we came back from that convention, I mentioned to you, "Jose, we have to move on and do something very creative and different. Because we don't want it, that word resonate to me, says one more tequila." Mm-hmm. And then what we did you recall?
Well, of course, we created the infamous flasks. The flask tequila was our first one. And I remember specifically we were at a store. It might have been
Specs.
Yeah, it might have been Specs, and we were just walking around thinking of ideas. We always are looking at every store, seeing what's out there, what's new, what's trending. And we walked by where the cups are, where the forks are, party supplies in the liquor store. And we saw these stainless steel flasks, which were selling for, it was like $11.99, $10.99 for a small flask like this, empty. And we both kind of looked at each other and we were like, wouldn't this be cool to do, but with tequila in it? And, that's where it was born, that idea. And we now we did the flask tequila, flask rum, whiskey, bourbon, and vodka.
I think we're still the only ones in the world that we're still using the flask with the different products.
Yeah, I have not seen... personally, I've not seen any other, brand do that. I've seen gift packs with just a free empty flask, but I've never seen a brand that is fully, the liquid is inside, and that's how it's sold as a stainless steel flask, and at the same price, if not lower, than what they're selling the empty flasks, which to me is such a no-brainer. If you're at a store and you see an empty flask for $10.99. For a 200 ml. Well, our flask is $9 or $10.99 full of high quality tequila. So to me, it's a no-brainer. And that's why we do really well in Asia, specifically Japan, very well with the flasks.
Yeah, you're selling containers of flasks.
Yes, actually I got a container ordered today. So yes. Very happy about that.
So anyway, from there we went to do many other creative brands. And we just didn't use tequila. We used some vodkas, we used some rums, and we tried to diversify with the very cool packages and different.
Yeah.
And our main thing is innovation. What is your last innovation that you have recently?
Yeah, to touch on the first part, that was one thing that when I first came in, you were creating with Michael brands that were the classic brands. And at that time, 10 years ago, that's what was selling. The normal bottles, maybe a nice ceramic, but the normal typical bottles was what was out in the market. But for us to stand out and be different, we had to create something that was different to the consumer or to different segments of the consumer. So that's what Casa Maestri now is built on, is all these different types of products that are very unique, very cool, and very different than other companies that are just creating the normal, typical tequila bottles. The newest innovation, I would say, is the Agave Boom margaritas, which have actually been in development for a long time, but we kind of have had other priorities, like our Casa Maestri ceramic brand, to push. But we thought we thought it was a good time this year to launch this brand. And was
the timing.
The timing was right, and the
and you keep in the factory busy right now with that.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone that has seen it at the WSWA convention is
ordered by container.
Yes. Very excited about that.
Yeah. And you introduced it to Europe already, no?
Yes. Yeah, we're really excited to partner with Brand Harbor in Europe, who's going to be representing us in all of Europe with that brand. Mm-hmm. And I have some trips coming up to Asia, so going to sell lots of little booms.
Little booms. What is your key challenges that you encounter in Casa Maestri with the global audience?
I would say, going back to that word that you said, another tequila. The audience, the consumer outside of the United States is not as educated in tequila as it is here. As you know, I think the United States is 80+% of all of the tequila market. So the other countries have a narrow view of what tequila is. They think it's changing now, but they think it's just a drink that's in a shot. You take shots with the lime and the salt.
Like in the beginning of the United States.
Beginning, like how it was in the US at the beginning. But slowly, through other distilleries and us, introducing high quality tequila that people can sip on instead of just take a shots. Yeah. To understand and teach them that it's not made just to party. It's also made to have a good time and to really enjoy the aromas and the notes that are in each profile. So that's the challenge internationally, is getting consumers to drink it that way and to understand.
What memory you have that is memorable for you?
What memory I have? Oh, there's a lot of memories. But I would say a really fun one was a trip to Abu Dhabi. I had an expo in Dubai, and we had to go also to Abu Dhabi to sell some product. And we were finishing up the day, and we went to a restaurant to go eat. We were walking by, and I saw the Casa Maestri Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo on the bar. And it was almost like a double take. I was like, wait a minute. We're in the other side of the world, in the Middle East, and Casa Maestri is right here at this bar. It was a nice restaurant. And I went in, and I just remember being like, there wasn't anybody at the bar. There was people eating at the restaurant, but at the actual bar, there wasn't anybody seated there. So I just went straight to the bar and I said, I want Casa Maestri, please. And I want a margarita. And so we got it. And it was just it was one of those moments where you feel really proud of all the things that you do, because I didn't know it was going to be there. And we don't sell a lot right now to the Middle East. So to know that the little that we do sell, it was right there. It just was a really nice moment.
Yeah, it's very
rewarding.
And when our importers took the chances with us,
yeah,
and give us the opportunity to be there, it's an honor.
Yeah.
And reality too, and a dream.
Yeah.
To come true, that we are all over. You are in Australia. What other countries we are? Not just with Casa Maestri, with all,
over 50, I would say now over 60 countries with all of our brands. We may not be the biggest brand in the world, but people know us for our quality. They know us for our innovation as well. They know that what we create is going to be good. And it's really exciting to see also the different markets, how, one market would be really good with this brand, but another market, Middle East will be good with this brand. It's just every market's different.
So with all the conventions, you go in conventions like 20 conventions a year, correct?
Yeah.
The last 5 years or 6 years?
5 years. Yeah, I would say at least six years I've been going.
And you create a team
mm-hmm.
now, a team that, how you call that team that you have?
I have a project manager team.
Project manager.
Because without them...
What they do?
Well, I do a lot, but the main thing is if we have a customer interested in either a private label or a bulk tequila project, they help with the start to finish with that customer, because there was a point where I just wasn't able to see every single customer. It would have been overwhelming. So we had to hire a team to help. And also that team travels with me sometimes to these conventions around the world, and they help sell to these importers and distributors and retailers in
But if
each
you
market.
want a private label,
mm-hmm.
how they walk the customer through?
So from start to finish, the first thing is they set up a meeting, a Zoom call or a Teams call with our team, and we discuss what their project needs are. So what is their vision? What do they want to do? What do they want to create? Questions like, do you have the packaging materials ready, or would you like us to help you with sourcing bottles and caps and labels? So we define everything on that kind of first call. Then once the customer's ready, we begin their project. And typically, a private label will take 6 months. If a customer is ready and eager to create their brand, it'll take about 6 months to create. We have to do custom profiles. We like the customers to come to the distillery and really take a tour and taste our quality.
And create their own profile.
Yeah, and create their own, because every profile is different. So they come to the distillery, they create their profile, they see our facilities, they look at bottles, caps, labels, their minds are racing with creative ideas, or sometimes they already have ideas and they just bring the idea to us and we finish their project that way. But most clients, they like to go to the distillery and see it in action. So, we have some permits that have to be done. After all that permitting time is done and all the materials are in and their profile is set, we go into production.
A lot of people, since I call the Casa Maestri has a magic, and we create the dreams comes true.
The Maestri magic.
The Maestri magic.
Yes,
which is what we use in our logo for our brand. But in essence, behind Casa Maestri really brings the magic to every single brand that we produce for other people as well.
Yes.
So even though we have 200 profiles or plus, it's hard for the people to comprehend that it's not two the same. And they think if we use something besides the 4 elements that are permitted by the Consejo Regulatorio of Tequila.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, we have a library of infusions that is being made with tequila, with different type of barrels.
Yeah.
We have several barrels.
So many different types of barrels.
Yes.
Yeah.
That in a 20,000 liters tequila tank, sometimes with 2 or 3 liters, make a difference in the profile.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that, and they think because we have so many, we don't have that, how you will say, we don't have that.
I understand what you're saying. where people think that, oh, because they make so many brands, they're just pumping it out and it is just all the same. But that's furthest from the truth. I would counter to say that you see all these brands are putting their trust in us, and that is why they come to us, because we know how to do it and how to do it well. We walk them through every step of the process. Our master distiller, Agustin and Citlali, are amazing, and especially in the barrel aging programs and processes. We have, for example, we have a new one. We have Canadian maple barrels, which I don't think anybody has. And it's we've let it age now for 14 months, an añejo.
And then from there you use it to make a difference.
Exactly. You can use a liter of that into someone's profile, and it just makes it completely different. You could use 10% of that, and there's a new profile. You can use 50%.
You can do many things with natural.
It's all natural. You don't have
to use any additives, any nothing. So that is the path of I think it's something that I wanted to tell our audience, that they feel confident that our brands has just quality. Everything is natural.
Yeah.
And it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible to achieve. So going back a little bit to your personal life, it's a challenge to travel having 3 beautiful kids, young kids.
Well, yes. And I'm about to do it again. You're going to make me cry. I love them so much. As you know, I have 3 kids. Our audience doesn't know, but I have 3 kids, Oliver, Sebastian, and Celia. Celia named after you and our grandmother, Celia, and my sister, Celia. Mm-hmm. So she's Celia the 4th, I guess, or the 3rd. But it is harder as they grow, because Oliver now is 3.5, and he knows what's going on a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, even like leaving for a weekend trip, when I say bye, it's like, it tugs at my heart.
Yes.
But I love them very much. And I try to now, what I used to do is I like to travel, and I like to spend some extra days in the place I'm going to go, because if I'm going to travel halfway across the world, I might as well enjoy the culture, right? But I've been very blessed to have been able to do that already. And so now when I travel, I just like to go and limit my days
back home.
Yeah, and then have my fun days back here with the family.
The good thing is you have a good support here. Me that took Oliver to see a baseball game.
Yeah, I have the best grandma in the world, right? So.
And you have the other ones too. But anyway, you have many people support you.
Yes, a lot of support.
But it is hard.
Yeah.
The reason is because I ask you this is when I was traveling and you were young, was hard on you?
I mean, I do remember that you were traveling a lot. But I mean, I wouldn't say it was hard, because at an early age, high school, if you remember, I went to boarding school. So I was away.
But before that.
When you were little. I remember going to boarding school and already being away from you and the family. So, boarding school and then college, also being away. And then...
No, but I was talking when you were little.
When I was little, yeah. I remember it, but I don't think it affected me as much as what people would think it did. I've just been very independent. I feel like I'm very independent personality. I mean, everyone wishes they had more time, with their family. But the time that I didn't get when I was little is the time I'm getting now, which I value more now. Because when I'm little, you forget. But now these are the experiences.
Eduardo used to tell me, you never have time to go to my game.
No, see, for me, that's not important. Now what's important is being able to spend time with you, not only at work, but personally, and then with the kids. I mean, that is the best feeling, is having grandma there with Oliver.
Anything fun that you can tell us about it? Any moment at work or
a fun
family?
Memory?
Maybe my
Well, there was one time. This was maybe 3-4 years ago. You and me took our first ever real vacation together. It was just you and me. And this was a week before the Cannes TFWA Expo in Cannes, France. Beautiful place. But we were like, you know what? We've never had a mother-son vacation. Why don't we go a week before to France and then go around and just have fun. The south of France. And that was really cool. That was really nice. So thank you for doing that.
Well, tell the audience that you like shopping with Mom.
I do love to shop. And the south of France is beautiful to do that.
I wanted to express our audience the difficult to not, you create the brand and you put it in the market. But a lot of people say, why? What I'm doing wrong? Or why my brand doesn't take off? Or why? I was trying to explain them that is, it is kind of one thing they have to know what they're going to encounter with. And second is, I don't know how to explain to them that is difficult, especially for us, for me and you. I think selling in other countries is easier, but in the United States, it's been very difficult, even for our brands.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Could be the amount of brands that there are, and maybe the way the system works here compared to other countries. In other countries, when I'm selling, I sell to the importer or a wholesaler, and they take the responsibility of the brand, and you do, sometimes you do some programs with them, but most of the times they do everything themselves under your parameters, and they sell, and you don't really have to really micromanage them. But here in the United States, you have 50 states. And every state is different.
Regulation.
Different laws, different everything. So imagine having to navigate, that. Plus, you have to incentivize the retailer, the consumer first, retailer, distributor, importer. So there's a lot of moving parts, and if you think you can just, sell it on, online, or just if a distributor picks it up and you think they're going to do it themselves, that's not the way it works here in the United States. You really need to be hands-on. You need to physically go with the wholesaler and sell this brand to the stores. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes money. But if you do that, I feel like always the brands that take the longest are the ones that succeed in the end.
They stay in the market.
Yeah, that stay in the market, and then they slowly maybe they'll have ups and downs, but eventually they do really well.
Yeah, people don't believe that you and I will still go and do tastings.
Yep. I did a total wine tasting the other day.
And I'm going to do one Friday.
Yes.
So it is,
just because
you have to be consistent.
Yeah, just because we sell in 60 countries and we have all these brands doesn't mean that we stop doing the things that you have to do in order to make that brand grow, which is you got to do tastings, you have to do brand awareness, festivals, whatever it takes, you have to do for the consumer to know who you are, because there's 350 million people here in the U.S.
Could you explain what we do in the essence of to project the brand? Every brand has their own identity. The team that we have in Casa Maestri is a young team, young minds. What we do to try to get into the new era of digital
we do have a young team, and I think that's a really good thing, because if we had older people, their thoughts on marketing and advertising are different than what the next generation or my generation perceives it to be. And we have a marketing team that does our videos and photos, social media. We have someone's who's doing our ads, advertising on Google, Meta, TikTok, everything. We also have someone who creates all of our presentations, which are very important for me personally, for me to sell to importers and distributors. So any type of flyer, banner, sales sheet, presentation, and anything that's digital that I need to be presenting, we have someone that helps me with that. And now we have this podcast, which I'm sure was your idea. I don't know where this came from, but no, it's amazing because this is what's popular. This is where people are listening to podcasts more and more, and so we're going with we're trying to reach the masses, and so
and we
anyway,
tell the
story,
the story and the stories, because we will have
many stories.
Some customers coming with their brands. It's not about us only. It's about every single person that is in the Maestri.
Behind the bottle.
Behind the Maestri magic. And one of the things that is coming too by May 10 is our new tasting club.
The club, yes.
So that
very cool.
Because it's very important that people to know that Casa Maestri, the way to drink is very different to any other. Even we have 200 or plus. This is the difference.
Mm-hmm.
This have a sensory kit, and it's a new way to enjoy tequila.
Yeah.
It is like getting together.
Yeah, you bring friends, family together, and you do a tasting.
Uh-huh.
That's very...
And talk about it.
Yeah.
And learn about it. It's like it's not just getting and having a margarita.
Right.
No, this is more than, going beyond.
Yeah, I haven't been to a gathering like that where, there's an actual bottle of tequila and people are actually tasting and giving notes. But I think it's a really cool experience, especially for those who want to learn more about the spirit, about agave and the profile that they're tasting. I think it's a really, really fun idea. So hopefully it goes well.
Yes. Well, anything that you want to add into our conversation? Are we going to do in the step 2 in the next?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be back on. So we'll save some fun stories for then. But I appreciate you having me, and I love you very much.
And I love you too. Anything that you want to tell the audience? Some kind of motivated phrase? Do you learn it from your life?
I would say it's not always as hard as you think working with family. It's tough sometimes, but it's the most rewarding thing in the world.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for watching this podcast, excuse me. So Behind the Bottle, Tequila Tales will be every week. So follow us and you can learn about us and our customers and what is behind the bottle. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening to Behind the Bottle, Tequila Tales by Celia Maestri. The next story's already aging to perfection, so don't miss it. See you soon. Don't forget to follow us on social media and your favorite podcast listening platform.